My penis was oscillating between extremely sensitive and borderline traumatized.
This One's Wife. They've a new website. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Yes, you'll all be delighted to know that This One's Wife and the Ginger Poodle have got a new website. Oh, what deep joy for the world this is. Interestingly, they see fit to launch a new website within just a week of the King's cancer diagnosis, demonstrating that they really do not care about anybody other than themselves in their awful shared fantasy, that it's all about talking about themselves. Of course, this is what drives everything that This One's Wife does, and she yanks the leash so that the Ginger Poodle follows suit. The website is called Sussex.com. And when you click on that, you're treated to a coat of arms, and it states the office of Prince Harry and This One's Wife, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Interestingly, the coat of arms belongs to her and not him. This tells us, of course, this was her idea, her creation, and of course, where she goes, he has no choice but to follow. Notably, when you look at this page as the opening black fades to a picture of the gruesome twosome at the This One's Wife games, which you can see in the thumbnail, the self-congratulatory behaviour of the Narcissist as she stands up clapping, those oversized hands cutting through the air like a pissed-up ninja. But the immediate impression once you land on this page is, are these two individuals who are no longer trading on royalty? Abso-fucking-lutely not. First of all, the website uses their title, Sussex. Not Harry and This One's Wife.com, not the Duke and Duchess of Overseas.com, not H&M.com, although I dare say that that's already been bagged. But they rely upon the title in the very title of the website, trading on the royal connection from the very beginning. What would be very entertaining is if Parliament moved to have them stripped of the titles, this would immediately render this redundant, that they would have to rework the website to remove reference to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and using Sussex.com would be pointless. Indeed, it strikes me that if I were Charles, I would be liaising with the relevant people to make this happen. Not only do they deserve to lose the titles because they don't do anything for the royal family apart from cause trouble for it and trade off the name, it would be a delicious way of crippling their website by rendering its title immediately pointless because they're no longer anything to do with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex having lost the titles. I'd certainly be putting that at the top of my list, Chuck. Anyway, the opening, of course, shows us with her coat of arms, trading on royalty, reference to him being a prince, trading on royalty, and use of the title, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, trading on royalty. So much for the independence that they claim that they want. As we all know, the only reason that these two have any relevance in the world, and that's using the word at its most elastic, is because he is a prince from the British royal family and she married into it. Beyond that, they offer nothing. He's thick, she's empty. She has no talent, no charisma, nothing about her that is inviting or interesting. The only reason that she is known, and it's not to do with suits, the only reason she's known is because of who she married. Hence, why she's known as This One's Wife. But let's dive in and learn more by clicking on Learn More to find out what they're going to tell us. The next page that we go to has the coat of arms there and the office of Prince Harry and This One's Wife, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So we're reminded again of the fact that they are linked to royalty. trading off it once more. And then the paragraph commences, the office of Prince Harry and this one's wife, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, reminding us again of their titles, is shaping the future through business and philanthropy. Ha! Really? Well, this exhibits the grandiosity of the narcissist, undoubtedly so. Business? What's the business? Grifting? That's the only business that they engage in. And philanthropy? Well, as you know, this is only undertaken by this one's wife for the purposes of making her look good. This includes the Archwell Foundation, Archwell Productions, patronages, ventures, and organisations which receive the support of the couple, individually and or together. We're then invited to learn more about Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, using the titles again, this one's wife, the Duchess of Sussex, once again using the titles. And down at the bottom, there's a link to Archwell Foundation, Archwell Productions, and then references again made to the office of Prince Harry and this one's wife, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. And then the bottom right, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex mentioned again. And then the usual all rights reserved, privacy made by article. Now, excluding the copyright 2024 all rights reserved information, there are on this page, interesting fact, 92 words. 48 of them reference the titles. 52% of this page is about their titles. Naturally, just over half, coming from two individuals that maintain they don't want anything to do with the royal family, and yet here they are with over half of their blurb utilising their titles. The fact that he's a prince and they're the Duke and Duchess of Sussex is mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times on this page. It's pathetic. It's like something a 13-year-old will have put together. But let's venture on, shall we, and learn more about Prince Harry, first of all, the Duke of Sussex, as we go to his bio page. Once again, the office of Prince Harry and this one's wife, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, is at the top. And then Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. So, once again, the titles have been mentioned twice. Oh no, there's yet more. Mentioned a third time. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, is a humanitarian, military veteran, mental health advocate, and environmental campaigner. Well, we certainly know that he's an environmental hypocrite. He has dedicated his adult life to advancing causes that he is passionate about, and that advance permanent change for people and places. He served for 10 years in the British Armed Forces, including 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan as a forward air controller and an Apache helicopter pilot. He is, after all, a legend of aviation. After completing his military service, the Duke founded the Invictus Games Foundation, a platform for wounded, injured and sick service personnel to engage in sport to aid their rehabilitation. The international event is a globally celebrated display of resilience, community and athleticism that has won acclaim for its impact in celebrating those that serve. Prince Harry is also the founder and or patron of a number of global charities and organisations including Travelist, Centre Bali, Wellchild, and sits on the board of African Parks. In 2021, he was named Chief Impact Officer, CHIMP, at Better Up, a world-class coaching platform that helps people everywhere achieve their own peak mental fitness. Really, it doesn't appear to have done anything for him. That same year, he served on the Aspen Institute Commission on Information Disorder, which brought together critical voices across the public, private and civil society landscape to respond to the challenges created by growing disinformation, whilst clearly failing to address the disinformation that he and his wife pump out. He co-founded the Archwell Foundation alongside his wife, this one's wife, the Duchess of Sussex, to serve communities in need. At the Archwell Foundation, the Duke and Duchess are committed to their mission. Show up, do good. 1 hour a week. They hold the value that charitable work should not simply be a handout, but rather a hand held. The couple also created Archwell Productions to produce content programming that informs, elevates and inspires, though that singularly failed. The Duke is the New York Times best-selling author of Spare, a memoir of his life told with compassion, vulnerability, well, I suppose talking about your dick repeatedly shows a degree of vulnerability and unflinching honesty. Well, I'll grant you that. Spare was the publishing industry's fastest selling non-fiction book, selling more than 1.4 million copies on its first day of publication. Prince Harry lives in California with his wife, this one's wife, and their 2 children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. You can then learn more about the various organisations that he's involved with. There are links to Invictus, Travelist, Centre Barley, etc., which takes you to the relevant websites. So there's the bio there, which doesn't mention the royal family at all, although, of course, repeatedly the titles are mentioned. So it's a fuck you to Pa, bollocks to you bro, and sod you sister-in-law. But I'll continue to use the titles and bluster about those, but not make any mention at all about my family. Or par the course there, one should imagine. Now, let's have a look at the bio of this one's wife. Surely this is going to be a 450-page magnus opus of all of the brilliance that the living saint. Well, let's read on. Of course, it starts by telling us that it's the office of Prince Harry and this one's wife, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and then this one's wife, the Duchess of Sussex. This one's wife, the Duchess of Sussex, 3 times before we get onto anything are the titles mentioned. Is a feminist, no she's not, and a champion of human rights, only in her imagination, and gender equity. Her lifelong advocacy for women, which basically is repeating the number of occasions that she piggybacked a class campaign to write to Procter & Gamble, and girls remains a constant thread in her humanitarian and business ventures. Her lifelong advocacy for women and girls is this: shag blokes, give them spicy poontang, marry them, and rely on them to advance yourselves. She has been named one of the most influential women in the world in rankings, including Time magazine's Most Influential People, bought, the Financial Times' 25 Most Influential Women, Variety Power of Women, bought, and British Vogue's Vogue 25. Though I dare say they'll probably want to revise that after leaving her out of the cover on the editor's recent departure. Her advocacy work on resilience, equality and compassion through action has been recognised, alongside that of her husband, Prince Harry, with the NAACP President's Award, bought, as well as the Robert F. Kennedy Nipple of Grope Award, bought. Born and raised in Southern California, this one's wife attended Los Angeles-based all-girls Catholic school, Immaculate Heart, which she continues to support as an alumna, before moving, which I think she supports by basically occasionally sending them a Skype message where she dribbles word salad all over them, before moving to Chicago to attend Northwestern University. While there, she double majored in theatre and international relations, although that's something which many people have questioned, and went on to intern at the US Embassy in Buenos Aires, Argentina, courtesy of her uncle, as well as to study abroad in Madrid, Spain. Oh, it doesn't mention the fact that she's fluent in French, except she isn't. After graduation, this one's wife turned her focus to the entertainment industry. Oh, indeed she did. Later securing a lead role on the hit series Suits, which she starred in for 7 seasons. Again, revision of history, she didn't star in it. She was 6th on the call list. The stars were other people. But, of course, that's not going to get in the way of her bigging herself up. Between filming, this one's wife travelled to Rwanda, India and other countries, supposedly to support humanitarian missions, although we all know it was to undertake photo shoots for her Instagram account. She served in key roles such as UN Women's Advocate for Women's Political Participation and Leadership, a World Vision Global Ambassador, and a leading counsellor to One Young World. This one's wife also travelled to support the military community on a USO tour. Yes, see parts pass him for the hugely entertaining video where nobody wants anything to do with her and she looks completely awkward. Visiting 6 military bases in 7 days, including Bagram, Afghanistan, which undoubtedly resulted in many troops saying, "Who the fuck is that drunken emu?" In 2018, this one's wife married Prince Harry, becoming the Duchess of Sussex. In actual fact, they should start the bio with that because that's the only reason why people know her. She has written for a number of publications and created the lifestyle website The Tig. The Duchess of Sussex guest-edited British Vogue in July 2019, which was the fastest-selling copy in the magazine's history. Yes, but also resulted in the editorial team thinking that you were an absolute dipshit and resulted in you annoying everybody there. She and Prince Harry founded the Archwell Foundation in 2020 in order to ensure that their expenses were paid, to support communities in need in both moments of crisis as well as for long-term aid. At the Archwell Foundation, they are committed to their mission, show up, do good, 1 hour a week. They hold the value that charitable work should not simply be a handout, but rather a hand held, a phrase this one's wife first adopted in supporting UK charity Smart Works, of which she is patron, that supports women to enter the workforce. This one's wife and her husband also founded an overseas production company, Archwell Productions. In 2022, this one's wife launched Archetypes, a record-breaking, podcast exploring the labels that hold women back, or, in other words, a hit list of things that people have called me in the past that I'm now going to work through and bore the arse off everybody, resulting in this series not being renewed, nobody else wanting to take it up, and me and my husband being referenced as fucking grifters. Archetypes debuted at number 1 in the US, UK, Australia, Ireland and New Zealand, and topped the charts as the number 1 podcast in 47 countries. After its first season, Archetypes was no longer renewed. Archetypes was awarded the People's Choice Award in the podcast category, as well as the Gracie Award for Best Podcast. Undoubtedly bought. She is a New York Times best-selling author. Well, who isn't? Publishing the acclaimed children's book, The Bench, which, of course, has multiple copies lying around her house, which she balances her laptop on, and when she read in the garden and placed the recording on YouTube, resulted in a mammoth number of downvotes, which, rumour has it, led to YouTube thereafter hiding downvotes. She also wrote Together, Our Community Kitchen, a collaborative publication with the women of the Hub Community Kitchen in the UK who were displaced after the tragic Grenfell fire. The book debuted as number 1 on the UK Sunday Times book list, with proceeds going to the Hub Kitchen. This one's wife is a major advocate for mental health, which basically revolves around claiming there was something wrong with hers and nobody helped her, family care by regularly jetting off without her family, and gender equity by ensuring that she achieves what she needs by relying on men. The Duchess hopes to be a cultural catalyst for positive change, word salad, reflecting her core belief that representation matters and that communities can be enhanced through learning, healing and inspirational support. This one's wife lives in California with her ginger poodle and their invisible children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. There we are. This one's wife bigging herself up. Only one line related to her acting career. No mention at all of the royal family. The only real reference to her time in Britain being the Grenfell fire, and is demonstrative of a load of nonsense. You can sit and pick all of that apart in terms of demonstrating how it really is just a facade of a narcissist. It demonstrates the emptiness that is there, and the fact is that as I read through that, and I'm just doing so off the top of my head, I can ad-lib plenty of, actually, that's not quite right, or you actually do this, and there'd be even more that I could dissect if I sat down and applied my mind to it, in order to demonstrate that this is just yet another puff piece, this time, of course, created on her own website. This, of course, all leads to the question, why? Might it be that the gruesome twosome anticipate that they're going to be removed from the royal family's website, and therefore this is a preemptive move to ensure that they've got a platform to continue to talk about themselves, principally using the titles gain, even though they don't do anything for the royal family? Quite possibly. It's also part, of course, of trying to once again rebrand. But of course, although it's all about, oh, look at all of the achievements that we've bought and look at all of the things that we've done, which actually have failed, Archwell has produced very little, and Netflix are considering whether to continue with the deal. The podcast was an absolute disaster, despite claiming that it was number 1 in 47 countries. That was as a result of grudge listens. That all this does is demonstrate that this is an individual who has to keep telling you that she is an advocate for women and girls, that she's a feminist, that she's a champion of human rights. It'd be interesting, and perhaps if you've got time you might go and look, to see if other celebrities, because that's all they are these days, have similar websites wanking off over their own achievements. Does Beyoncé have a website where she bangs on about being a feminist and a champion of human rights and so forth? Or does she simply have a website that allows you to perhaps purchase her records, shows off some of the things that she's been doing, maybe photographs from her concerts, etc.? All of this is naturally the grandiosity of this one's wife, requiring a platform to keep telling the world that she's brilliant. But the problem is, that ship has sailed. The horse has bolted from the stable. Most people recognise that she's a talentless, charisma-free zone, and that no matter what she writes and what she attempts to tell us, it really isn't going to be accepted by people. Indeed, all that happens is when you release something like this, which keeps mentioning the fact that you've got a title, and mention that you've got a title, and mention that you've got a title, is that scorn is poured upon it. So they've got a new shiny website. Whoopie-fucking-do. But all it demonstrates is this: their increasing desperation, and the only card that they have is the link to the royal family with whom they don't actually want anything to do. Hypocrisy at its finest. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.